Shanghai first, and we were consulting with sort of redoing their infant nutrition formulas for all of China. We came down here and did a protein summit with Nestle's and Abbott's and companies of those sorts, and developing products for Asia. I'm going up to Bangkok to Chulalongkorn University. I'm going to do a teaching seminar with their faculty of pharmacy at the end of next week. So we were able to fit this in, and it's great to be here. So let me tell you a little about Qivana. I've been with them not quite from the start. I joined about 6 months into the program as we were developing products. And let me just sort of start with a few of the things about it. I think there are a couple of things, 2 or 3 things that set Qivana apart from everyone else. And one is the leadership. The 4 founders, Justin Banner, Craig Johansson, Derek Hall, Devin Glazier, the 4 founders are truly unique. They have an enormous amount of experience in direct marketing area, and they're just wonderful people. One of the things that always sets it aside for me is that it's a very much of a family kind of atmosphere. They really do care about the people they interact with. Justin Banner is the Chief Strategy Officer. He's the person I actually work most with in developing products and developing our systems. Craig Johansson is our marketing person. He's our Chief Marketing Officer, and he develops all the packaging, and we have really very nice looking products and systems. Derek Hall is CEO. Derek and I go back a long ways. My connection actually to Qivana is through Derek, and Derek and I have worked together for over 15 years, and so that's my sort of direct connection. And then Devin Glazier is our Chief Financial Officer. So they're great people. If you haven't met them yet, you're going to enjoy every one of them. They're really great. Second thing, that when they put it together, their vision was really to create something totally new and innovative in the natural products area. Derek comes out of the pharmaceutical industry, and what he wanted was basically a company that had natural products that had the quality behind pharmaceutical products. Basically, we have the science that is at that level. So we wanted natural products that really came directly from scientists and really had no other peers. So really we wanted to be totally leaders in the field. I think one of the things that then sets us apart there is that while most companies really don't have science, they do what I call Google science. They go out on the internet and they look for some product that they think might be fun to work with, some magic juice that came from a tree in Brazil or something, and they say, I think we can sell that. And then they go out and find some physician that they can pay as a talking head, and they say, we're going to go to the market with this, and they have no idea whether it works. They just hope you'll buy it. What we've done is totally separate. Is in every one of our products, we go directly to the scientist who discovered it and did the clinical studies to prove that it works. So every one of our products has been tested by the scientist, and we've teamed directly with the person who published the data. With that, we've developed a product system. Some companies go out there and with their Google Science, they'll put out a new product every 6 months. You go out and you see various, I won't bother naming them, but they have catalogs of 400 products in it. And they put out a new one every week or every 2 months or something. Just because the last 10 didn't work, they hope maybe you'll buy the next one. So we don't do that. Basically what we have are systems. We have products that are designed to work together and to fit together. We have 4 basic systems. We have our core system, our metabolic system, Prime, and Skin Shift. They're all safe, they're all natural, they're all designed to work together, they're totally integrated, and they're very convenient to use. I am sort of overseeing and responsible for the core, metabolic, and Prime. Skin Shift is another one that I don't work very much with, so I'm going to talk about the 3 that I sort of have the most to do with while we're here today. As I already mentioned, the 3 systems are the core, metabolic, and Prime, and they're designed to work together. They're integrated, and they all sort of build on the health package that we're trying to create. Start out with core. Our core is sort of what the word means. It's our fundamental package. It's our core package. It's the one we want to build around. The two parts of core are a probiotic for gut health and the essentials for the overall metabolic stability. I'll tell you just a little about each of those parts as we go through. One of the things when you get into nutrition that's absolutely critical is your gut has to be healthy. Nutrition starts once you swallow food. If your gut's not healthy, everything else is not going to work, both in terms of digesting food, absorbing food, but just even your basic immune responses. If your gut's not healthy, nothing else works. So basically, we decided that we would start our program with a probiotic. Our probiotic is state-of-the-art. Basically, if you go out, there's probably no area of nutrition that is hotter right now than probiotics. Everywhere you turn, you'll see everything from yogurts to probiotics on the market. This is a hot area. And of the areas that have been researched, there are about 6 different bacteria, 6 different bugs, if you will, that have been highly researched. We've basically been able to incorporate 5 of them in our probiotic at this point. And so our bugs are sort of standard. You'll find they're mostly milk-based. They're lactobacillus, a lot of them. They're pretty standard. They're kind of the common. And what sets our product totally apart from anything else, though, is our delivery system. When you go out and take in a yogurt, for example, yogurt is a great place to get probiotics, but when you swallow it, over 50% of them are killed in the acid of the stomach. Over 50% of the bugs will die as they reach the stomach. And so what we developed was a 3-layer pill, a 3-layer little tiny pill, where the outside layer is acid resistant. So it will pass through the stomach into the small intestine, and the second layer then will dissolve in the higher pH of the low intestine, and it finally delivers the bacteria to the lower intestine where you actually need it. So our bacteria are state-of-the-art, but what makes us totally different is our delivery system. And so we're able, with each pill, to be able to deliver 2.5 billion bacteria to your lower intestine. There's just no other way you can do that. So our probiotic is state-of-the-art. You can take 1 of them per day. You could take 4 of them per day. If you ever have to experience an antibiotic treatment, you should be taking 2, 3, 4 of them a day to replenish your bacteria in your intestine. Our second component of the core system is called our core essentials. And this is our first step in sort of overall metabolic stability. And again, our products interact together because they're all looking at stabilizing your metabolism. Our sort of central part of this core is actually an ancient Asian herb. The formal name is Gynostema pentaphyllum. I think it's known in Asia as jaguan frequently. It's frequently, historically used as a tea and was used a lot for diabetes. It helps block carbohydrate absorption and also stabilizes blood sugar. It's also very effective at helping to lower blood lipids. This herb is a very unique herb. It's also sometimes referred to as the king's herb because it has such interesting functions. So that's kind of the central component of it. We have 2 other parts. Chinese skullcap is also totally unique because it's an anti-inflammatory. If you know of aspirin or Tylenol or ibuprofens, all have anti-inflammatory effects, but there are 2 major branches to our inflammation process, and those all only address one of them. The skullcap actually addresses both wings, both aspects. So many people will find it actually more effective than traditional things like Tylenol and ibuprofen, joint pain and things like that. And the third component of it is the ginseng, which will help with an energy. So what the overall effect of the essentials is to sort of stabilize metabolism, stabilize your sense of energy. It's an adaptogen. It kind of makes you just better off in terms of metabolic health. So that's really the core system. Move on to the second system, which we call metabolic. This one was actually developed in my research lab. So this one is fully out of the research we did at the University of Illinois. We had a weight loss clinic there, an obesity treatment clinic, and based on about 11 years of research there, we developed the products, we developed the teaching, and we tested it in hundreds of different subjects and patients. One of the things I think we're all familiar with is obesity is a worldwide problem. It's certainly a big problem in the United States. It's basically in all developed, more urbanized societies. As we become more urbanized, we become more sedentary, we spend more time sitting behind computers, obesity becomes a problem. As we have more access to more diverse foods, and you can look across, and Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore are sort of up there. The more urbanized we become, the more problems we have. And I think everybody probably recognizes obesity as a health risk, but if you look at the true health risks we all worry about, heart disease, cancer, diabetes, obesity is at the center of causing them. At the very least, it makes them all worse. If you have a genetic risk for heart disease, being overweight makes it worse. If you have a genetic risk for being diabetic, obesity makes it worse. And so controlling weight and body composition is clearly something that we want to pay attention to. And so again, we were working on this, University of Illinois. My research actually focuses on skeletal muscle. We're an expert in protein and development of muscle. And while we were studying muscle, one of the things that we recognize is that when we treat muscle correctly, when muscle is healthy, you lose body fat. And so we basically developed a program based around making muscle healthy. As was said earlier, we've got over 100 publications and 30 years of research behind this. As you look at weight loss programs out there, one of the things to keep in mind is there's hundreds of different programs. You have a new fad diet that comes out every couple of months. There's no question that there's lots of ways to lose weight. Losing weight isn't the issue. The issue is losing it and keeping it off. And what we know is that while there's lots of ways to lose weight, over 93% of the people who lose weight will gain it back. And what we know is that if you lose it and gain it back, you're worse off for having done it in the first place. Because each time you lose weight and gain it back, your body composition gets worse. And so it's critical that we only do it the right way. So one of the problems with most diets out there is they think that the problem of being overweight is about being fat. They think it's a problem of obesity is a problem of your fat cells. And that's not true. It's really a problem of having unhealthy muscles. And so I always like this cartoon. Here's a new fad diet, 30 time-tested ways to lose the same 5 pounds. A lot of people can attest to having done that. I've used this diet and lost 10 pounds and gained back 15, and used that diet and lost 10 pounds and gained back 15, and that's sort of the problem. So as we look at it, what we need to recognize is correct weight loss isn't just about the scale, it's about losing the right weight and changing your body composition. Most doctors, as I said, believe that obesity is a problem of fat. It's a problem of fat tissue, your adipose tissue. And that the way to do it is to starve it away. The problem with if you just starve away fat is that you lose about 50% muscle when you do it. So if you just go out and starve to lose weight, half of it will be the fat you want to lose, but the other half is going to be muscle, and muscle is what burns calories. And if you lose that muscle, now you can burn fewer calories per day than when you started. That's why you're getting worse off. And so you can go out and find starvation diets, and you lose it, but you lose muscle and fat, and at the end of it, you look like you came from a concentration camp. You may be skinnier, but you look awful. And what we want to do is an approach to weight loss where you lose just fat, you protect your muscles, and you look better as you lose the weight. And that's really what we discovered how to do. And so what we found is that
we could actually energize your muscle tissues. We could really ignite your muscles to burn calories if we could just get the protein and carbohydrates right in your diet. If we could get your meals correct and your protein and carbohydrate correct, then we could energize your muscles to burn fat, and you could lose weight in a healthy way. The focus on muscle is totally different, sort of makes us different than everyone else. And muscle is constantly making new protein. I'll make that point again in the next slide. But when you accelerate that process, the body begins to burn more fat. And when muscle is burning energy, it primarily likes to burn fat. And it primarily likes to burn the fat you store around your waist. So one of the reasons we store it there effectively is because it's a reservoir for our ancestors getting lost in the wilderness. If you missed one meal, you couldn't die, obviously. You had to be able to store some energy to keep your muscles so you could go hunt and gather. Muscles want to use fat stored around your waistline. And when you do that, it improves insulin sensitivity, it improves blood lipids, it improves your blood sugars and all of that. So the focus on muscle. What we discovered from our research is that we could sort of simplify this approach in what we call sort of a balanced plate look. And what we're going to do is balance the protein with the kinds of carbs you have in your diet. And so just by doing sort of that approach, some people refer to this as our Mercedes-Benz approach to a diet. But basically, we sort of think about the diet and the plate in three parts. And what we're going to do is balance protein and carbohydrates. So what I was saying about muscle in terms of this energy and igniting it is that every day our muscles are building new protein. And within a period of about 4 months, your body replaces every protein in your body. That's pretty dramatic. And depending on your diet, you can speed that up or slow it down. One of the theories about aging is that process slows down and we don't regenerate as quickly. And that's part of aging. And so that's really where we started studying it. My earliest publications, kind of before the beginning of time, way back when, were all about aging and protein turnover. How do we control that process? And what we've learned is how to manipulate diets to keep that process healthy. And so what we're going to do is this process of synthesis and breakdown that's always going on. If we get diet right, we can accelerate that. We can make your muscles healthier, and that process burns a lot of calories. And by doing that, we can accelerate fat burning. So we're basically igniting the metabolism in muscle. So that's basically how we do it. We've created a teaching pattern. And so one of the things I would encourage is we do have it, it's a published manual. And so it's a complete program. It's not just a magic pill. I'm going to talk about some of our products. It's not about a magic shake. It's about using products to help you balance your day correctly. There's no magic in weight control. Basically, it's doing the right things consistently. And so our products are designed to be the right things that are convenient for your lifestyle. People that say there's a magic pill or a magic drink or something to weight loss are teasing you. Okay? There is no such thing. Basically, weight control has to just be good diet. And so we're going to look at that. So again, this our Mercedes-Benz plate look is we learned that we could teach it in three parts. The first part that you have to get right to energize muscle is you need about 30 grams of protein at a meal. Well, how much is 30 grams of protein? If you just think about it in a piece of meat, like a piece of pork or something, meat is fairly dense in protein. So it takes about 4 ounces, so that would be 100 grams. Okay? A little over 100 grams is all you need to get that amount of protein. If you translate it into eggs, that's about 5 eggs, so quite a bit. Okay? If you translate it into glasses of milk, There's 8 gram per ounce, so you need about 30 ounces. Okay, so it's it's fairly a difficult amount to get. If you think about it in certain foods. So what we want to do is blend those together correctly. The best foods to get it from: fish, eggs, dairy, meats, because they're all the better. They're higher quality proteins and higher density proteins, so you can eat less of them. The second part of that plate is what we call smart carbs. And when you think about when you're eating, these are the carbohydrates that are very high fiber. So all the vegetables, berries, things of that nature. Basically, they're driven by fiber, and you can eat as much as you want. This is also where the beans and legumes go. Okay? A lot of people think of beans and legumes as high protein foods. They're actually very high carbohydrate foods. They have 4 grams of carbs for every gram of protein, but they're excellent fiber sources. So they actually belong in what we would call a smart carb category. And this is the category of food you can kind of eat without any limit. You can eat more broccoli, you can eat more lettuce, you can eat more beans, whatever. You can fill up on that category. The category that is the big risk for everyone is the starchy, sugary carbs. In the United States, it's breads. Asia, it's going to be rice and noodles, right? Dumplings. Okay? And so when we teach this, what we teach, and the way to do this, is that the protein part of the plate has to be exactly equal to the size of the carbohydrate side. So whatever the amount of rice you're going to eat, you have to eat protein equivalent to that, and I guarantee you'll lose weight. If you drive your meal by eating protein first, you'll control your calories. Okay? So when you talk about metabolic and you talk about the way it is, each meal follows this pattern. And what we've done